Okay, so what we're going to talk about, this is a very quiet microphone. What we're going to talk about are the dangers of flash floods. So being out in the desert and... Yeah, now I'm loud?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, do you want to hit the lights so we can see this? Okay, Matt's got the lights. Okay, so basically the dangers of flash floods. So, you know, a lot of times we don't deal with that as much in the Salt Lake Valley or northern Utah because even though it's a high desert, you're going to learn some things about soil as to why they're just not as, they don't happen as often in the northern area. But when you get down south, you get down into the desert, they're going to happen way more frequent, and there's a few reasons why. So let's go ahead, and I've got the controls. I was going to say, punch me to the next one, but I've got to punch it myself. So I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to punch it really, yeah, really big hammer.
Did you turn the mouse on?
No. Oh, you're right. I did. Now it'll work. I know, right? Bam. Okay, so a couple things we were going to talk about. What is a flash flood? Why are deserts so vulnerable? How quickly can water rise? How far away can water events be from a flash flood happening? The power of flood water, safety tips and preparedness, and then the special bonus feature that's not on here. We're going to walk through a little event that happened on a recent gold mining expedition that a couple guys got together on, and Carl's going to come up and walk through some of the fun and excitement that we may have had during that trip. So that said, what is a flash flood? So a flash flood is basically when the soil cannot absorb the water as fast as it's falling down, and it doesn't have anything else to do with it. So gravity does what gravity does. The water is going to find the easiest path, and it's going to make its way down into washes. It's going to make its way down as low as it can get until it hits a point of obstruction. Now, what that means is that the water is going to quickly accumulate very fast. It's not going to absorb in the water, so it's going to raise up. And as that water raises up, it's a sudden surge that, one thing I want to point out, for the most part, a lot of the pictures, unless I specifically call something out, a lot of the pictures, these are pictures from the event, our flood event that we just experienced a couple of weeks ago. So this flash flood here is a sudden surge of water that was completely unexpected while we were out mining. And it can carry debris flow, trees, boulders, cars, buildings. Flash floods can get very intense very quickly. And, yeah. Equipment, yeah, we'll get to the equipment. So it can occur within minutes or even up to hours from the time that the actual rainfall occurs. Now, a lot of people don't realize that. If the rain is falling on your head, it can happen right now. But if it's raining in the mountains above you, you might not even realize that it's raining. It might not even be within view. But because it's raining so hard and that rain is accumulating into different channels and it's going to eventually make its way down to a channel that you're next to, if that's its path of flow, you could get a flash flood hit you from a rainstorm that occurred miles away, hundreds of miles away, hours ago. But it just took that long for the rain that water accumulation to finally make its way all the way to you. So especially when you're in the desert, be very cautious, be very, pay attention. Look at the clouds, look at the sky, look at your maps, look at your weather apps, and just make sure you know what's going on from a weather perspective. They do often strike in low-lying areas. Low-lying areas are going to be dry washes, slot canyons. Very, very, very dangerous to be in slot canyons. Because the slot canyon has really tall walls, they're very narrow spaces, and if the water's coming down a huge wash and then falls into a slot canyon, all of a sudden that same volume of water is going to be compressed into a much smaller space. So it gets very tall very quick. Picks up a lot more force, a lot more speed, and a lot more depth. And slot canyons, if you're stuck in a slot canyon, it's hard to get out of them because they're normally, smooth, slick walls. So it can be very hard to get out of them and get to safety. So be very careful in slot canyons, and then goalies. Okay, story time. Vegas, baby. We all love Vegas, right? Maybe not. I don't like it. So I lived in Vegas for 22 years. So I was born and raised here in Utah, moved to Vegas, lived there 22 years. So the whole point of that is we don't think about flash floods on a regular basis living in Salt Lake and the surrounding counties. These don't happen as often. They do. My house in Tooele, we just experienced a flood a couple weeks ago, right? Tooele just got nailed, got hammered very quickly, very recently. But in Vegas, it was a regular way of life. You had to be flash flood aware. Why? Because you could be driving down any street in Vegas, and if a rainstorm happened, that street could instantly turn into a river very quickly. So I'm going to take you back a little ways back in time. August 19th, 2003. Just another sunny, dry day in Las Vegas, Nevada. There's an awesome band that was going to be playing that night at a local bar. I know they were an awesome band because I was a singer. And right? So my guitar player and I worked together, and all the band's equipment was at my house on the far north end of town. So we left work in my Jeep Grand Cherokee, which it's a Jeep, right? It can go anywhere. It can do anything. We had to go to the north side of town to pick up band gear. Then we were going to drive back to the central part of Vegas so that we could play a gig that night. And our drummer and bass player lived in a different area of town, so they were all meeting us, right? Something happened. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a freak storm kind of rolls over. It's not so happy, sunny Vegas anymore. 2 to 3 inches of water, depending upon where it was measured in the valley, between 2 and 3 inches of water fell in 90 minutes. That water had nowhere to go. It accumulated very quickly on the ground, and we'll just say that all hell broke loose. Okay? There's a freeway, kind of like our 215, it's called the 95, and it's got the huge, Bo knows what they are, the big precast cement walls, right? The concrete barriers. What happened is the way that they were built, they didn't allow the water to get out of it. So that instantly, the entire 95 freeway turned into a river. Cars couldn't go on it anymore. When the water finally did find a place to escape, and the water coming down from the mountains up above us, all the water accumulated on one street. There was one major path that all of the rain went down on August 19th, 2003. So my buddy and I are driving to the bar. We're actually driving to my house, and we're passing the bar that we're supposed to be playing at that night. As we're driving down the road, we're right behind this fire truck, okay? And we're looking ahead, and there's some water in the road. You could tell that it's flooding. And my buddy kind of taps me, and he goes, "You're not driving through that, are you?" I'm like, "It's a Jeep, man. If the fire truck's going through it, I'm going to follow the fire truck," right? Yeah, the fire truck hit the water, lifted up, and started to float down the river in front of us.
Change your mind?
Needless to say, I hit the brakes, we turned around, and our band didn't play that night. We didn't play that gig. I mean, the water pressure from this water was heavy enough that it lifted a fire truck off the ground and just floated it sideways right down the river like it was a boat. That is the scary, true power of water. And when you've seen it firsthand like that, you get a whole different appreciation for it.
Discount on fire trucks that week?
Funny enough, total side conversation, but that fire truck actually did not sustain much damage. They did $20,000 worth of repairs on it. It was back in service in a month. So, okay. So why are deserts so vulnerable? Number one, deserts are dry, compacted soil. As gold miners, we know how hard it is to dig desert dirt. Jackhammers, I see Matt over there with his jackhammer in the ground. You have caliche, you have low-lying bedrock, you have a lot of clay layers, okay? Things that are great for gold mining. It's why we love it, right? Shallow bedrock that the water can't permeate. Clay layers that act like a false bedrock that the water can't permeate. Caliche layers that the water can't permeate are also all gold catches, right? Great places to find gold. Not great places to be standing when it starts to rain, okay? So what happens is the soil does not absorb the water, and there's sparse vegetation, which means it doesn't retain the water. It runs off. It has to move. It can't stay where it's at. It just moves. So it's looking for a place to land. From the Crescent Creek claims, Lake Powell, the Colorado River and Lake Powell is where the water is going to stop running from our Crescent Creek claims. It's not going to stop running. So rainfall runs off very rapidly, and it can create torrents in minutes. Oh, I keep hitting the wrong button on here. You'd think I knew how to use a computer or something. Okay, flash floods can occur even if it's not raining locally. I kind of talked about this a second ago, but it's very important to understand that when you're in a dry wash and you see the sky around you and you're like, oh, it's nice and sunny here. Yeah, there's gray clouds over on that side, but it's not where I'm at. It's not the mindset you want to have. The mindset you want to have are those rain clouds upstream from me, or are they downstream from me? Because if they're upstream from you and it starts to rain, we just talked about it, right? Within minutes to hours, that water is going to go past you very quickly, right? If it's downstream from you, just keep your head on a swivel. Pay attention to what the weather patterns are doing. Make sure that there aren't any clouds accumulating in the mountains above you. Desert mountains, just like the sparse vegetation in the soil that doesn't accept the water, mountains can do the same thing. So if it's raining in the mountains above you, that water's all got to go somewhere, right? And it's going to come down. All of those channels, all those draws, all those canyons, all the water that's coming from all of those different sources are going to funnel into the same place. That's why as you're looking at channels, when you're looking at alluvials on the mountain, you're looking at the channels on the mountain. I'll get right to you, okay? As you're looking at those alluvials, they all start to connect. They're like little fingers that go up the mountains, right? All those channels connect together, and they all get into bigger and bigger and bigger channels. Well, it's because, yeah, it's a little water here, a little water here, a little water here, but where those connect, it's going to be a bigger channel. And then those will have different fingers, and where those connect, it gets to a bigger channel until you're looking at washes the size of a valley in some places. The valley can be the wash, because as all that water accumulates, it gets the flood itself gets bigger and bigger. Yeah.
Another thing that happens in the desert is you can have a forecast that says it's completely dry, but in the mountain, it will rain in the mountain because it happens all the time. We have it here in Salt Lake, dry, hot, no rain. In the Uintas, it's raining heavily.
Very good point. So if you couldn't hear him, what he mentioned was you can have forecasts that say they're completely dry. In fact, when Carl comes up in a minute to take over, Carl will talk about the forecasts that we had when we went up to Crescent Creek. Okay? We're smart, right? We're intelligent human beings. We look at forecasts, and we looked and it was dry. Now, one thing I will say is you said it can look completely dry. I will say that in Vegas, the running joke when I lived in Vegas was if it had 10% chance of precipitation, in reality, a 10% chance of precipitation in the desert is a 50% chance. At a 20% chance of precipitation, when you're looking at the desert weather, it's a 100% chance of precipitation. If it says there's a 20% chance of rain, it's going to rain. You're going to get floods.
We were in the same area a week after the 100-year flood. High water mark in some areas was 30 feet above the stream bed base.
In Crescent Creek?
Yes.
So if you didn't hear him, he was mentioning that he went to this exact same place we were at the next weekend, and following a 100-year flood, and the high water mark was as high as 30 feet tall in some places. That's how much water was accumulating and pushing down these canyons. So, okay, how quickly can water rise? Well, water can rise several feet in mere minutes. And the reason I say that is because we just talked about the accumulation of all of those different sources. As all of those sources accumulate, yeah, it might look like a little trickle of water here, and you're going to see a video in a little bit that was just a little trickle of water. But remember, there are thousands of those trickles of water, and they're all adding up. So as they're accumulating, that water is growing very exponentially. It's growing exponentially. So I'm not going to try to steal all of Carl's thunder, but I did throw a couple things up here. This is the dry wash. This isn't before the flood. This was after the flood, but you can see the water dissipates as quickly as it shows up. This picture here was dry. That, you can see this is all water. This is all water. You're going to see videos of this. Hopefully they're a little bit clearer when Carl starts showing. That's how much water was in those areas in an instant. Sir.
I used to live in Rockville, down by Springdale, there at Zion
Yeah.
National Park.
Yeah.
And because we were part of the sheriff's posse and stuff, we used to be alerted when it would rain in Orderville because of that accumulation. I have watched the Virgin River rise 15 feet in 12 minutes. A lot of people don't know that there were 14 towns between Hurricane and Springdale that got washed out.
Do you all hear that, or do you want me to repeat? Everybody hear that okay? Yeah, that is amazing. So living in Vegas, Zion was like our big go-to spot. We used to go to Zion all the time. And I was a scoutmaster for 6 years. And as the Boy Scouts, you know, they're 10 to 18 years old. And I can't tell you how many times I'd have 13, 14-year-olds with me. We'd be doing the Emerald Pools Trail. Coming down off the Emerald Pools Trail, beautiful sunny day, a rain cloud pops over the top of the mountain, and next thing you know, if you've ever been in the Virgin River Gorge between St. George and Vegas, if you've ever been in Zion, if you've ever been in any of those canyons, Arches National Park, any of those canyons where you got overhead canyon walls, all of a sudden you can just start seeing little waterfalls starting to spring up all over the mountain. And so we're up in Emerald Pools, like we're between second and third pool, and all of a sudden a little waterfall starts to rush in between a bunch of the scouts. And it's instantly like, get to high ground, guys. Like get up the highest point of the trail you can find and grab onto brush, because within minutes we had multiple waterfalls running down the trail.
They need to rename it not Virgin anymore, it should be called Severe.
Right? So several feet in mere minutes. You said 15 feet?
Yeah,
In how long?
12 minutes.
15 feet in 4 minutes. That's a river, the Virgin River. 12 minutes. 15 feet in 12 minutes. That's Virgin River. This is not a small creek. This is not a dry wash. This is a solid running river. To go up that fast it's insane to think about it. Flash floods move at speeds of up to 9 feet per second, okay? 9 feet per second, and we're going to talk about some other numbers here as we go along. But I can tell you that Carl and I are sitting here moving a boulder simply because there's equipment that we needed to get to under that boulder. He'll talk about some of this in a little bit. And then 6 inches of flood water is enough to knock a person off their feet. That's how much force the water has. 6 inches of water can knock a person off their feet. If you guys have been watching the news lately, Arizona, it was the tropical storm that broke up, dissipated over southwest U.S. and just kind of made its way across. Arizona's been getting hammered. This is a pile of cars in Globe, Arizona 2 or 3 weeks ago from all the flooding that they've had. That pile of cars is just from water pressure. Oh, I mean, it happens quite often. Yeah, for being 100-year floods, I must be 400 or 500 years old because I've seen a few of them. Yep, that fire truck, that was considered a 100-year storm. Yeah, it happens quite often. So the power of water, it does not take very much water to move a lot of weight. Okay, storms can start far away. We kind of talked about this. Flash floods can be triggered by storms miles away. The rainfall upstream, we already talked about all this. Desert terrain, channels, we've talked about all this. So I'm going to skip this slide. Check weather forecasts, okay? And I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. Like I've mentioned this before, but making sure you've got proper ways to stay in contact when you're off grid is very important, especially if you're going out solo or in small groups. Having some way to contact the outside world is very important. Smoke signals are not always going to work.
You know, I went on a hike down Coyote Gulch in the Escalante area, and you had to have a permit, and they said they'll pull your permit if it rains within 150 miles. Nope, you're canceled.
150 miles.
Yeah, and the guy that was guiding the trip lost his brother in a Boy Scout troop in that same canyon to a flash flood in the early 80s.
Wow. Everybody hearing that okay?
You look at those pictures where you're standing, and if you're over standing on the gulch, you can't see some of those storms 50 miles away.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah,
Down in the middle of it, you can't see them.
excellent point. So especially the deeper the slot canyon. So what his point was, when you're down working in a gulch like this, especially if your head's down on digging and you're paying attention to the ground, you're not always looking at the skies in the mountains miles away. And I can tell you for a fact, we were intentionally on day 2, you'll see it, intentionally on day 2, we were poking our heads up. We had somebody would always poke their head up and look at the storm clouds as they were going so we could check on it.
For us, a week later, on day 2, the rain started. We immediately packed everything up and got out.
Good call. Yeah, day 2, he said a week later, day 2, same canyon, they got out. Good call.
Well, and I'm noticing your picture there too, brother, and you can see the water coming down, and look at the sky in the background. You would never know that water's gonna come from there.
You would never know. Yeah, it's true. So on the, I'm not taking away from Carl's stuff. So Carl will get to some stuff. I don't think I have pictures of, I only have pictures of day 2. I don't have pictures of day 3 or 4 in here. So anyway, yes, Mark, the point is here, water's still coming down. The skies are clear. It was a beautiful day. I got sunburned actually while we were out hiking around.
How many hours after the initial flood was these photos taken?
One of the far left is before the flood, and everything in the picture, tool equipment-wise, is gone. Number 2 picture in the middle is the next day, midday after, we're trying to recover equipment. One on the right is that afternoon when it started raining again.
So to be more specific, I would say this picture is probably, the rain probably stopped about 7:30 in the morning, and we were hiking it by 10, 11 in the morning. So 3 hours maybe.
Okay, and then the water's moving on the last one. And
Different storm.
It was
That's
raining.
another storm that came in on the 3rd day, or the afternoon of the 2nd day.
Third day.
3rd day.
See how much water's moving? And that was dry when you guys
That's
got
just
there,
drip
right?
there, that's nothing.
Yeah, it was just drizzling. There wasn't really rain. A little bit. Well, after that, it got bad, but yeah. Yeah. That was the day of the tornado. I'm going to go back.
I didn't hear that story.
I can't go back. There we go. There we go. Yeah. This day, when it started raining, am I still in your thunder?
No.
I didn't have any pictures of that in here. If anybody heard the tornado, F2 tornado that hit southeastern Utah a few weeks ago, it was this weekend. It's still September 11th to the 14th were these pictures. So on the 3rd day, we were mining, saw rain coming down, saw water starting to trickle down, got out, got our tools out, got out of the channel of the dry wash, got back up to camp. Heavy rainfall came down, hail came down, and then my phone, I was the only one that was connected to satellite, so nobody else was getting these alerts. My phone just starts beep, 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 like an Amber Alert, it's going crazy. And I'm like, more flooding, and I pick it up. Tornado alert, take shelter, get into a tornado shelter. I'm like, we're in the middle of nowhere. Where's there gonna be a tornado shelter? Like, what do we do? Yeah, we also had a lightning strike and a fire. I had to use my satellite phone my iPhone. I'm happy to teach anybody how to do this if you have an iPhone. My iPhone's connected to satellite. I was able to get a hold of emergency services, text with 911, give them the GPS coordinates of a wildfire that was due to a lightning strike, and they were flying in with helicopters. When a lot of these pictures are taken, this picture that's being taken right here, there's probably helicopters flying over us with buckets dumping water on a wildfire that was caused by a lightning strike. It was definitely a trip. The gods were protecting the gold. They did not want us to get to it on this trip. Right? right? Some of those kinds of stories. Okay, power of the floodwater. So here we go. Let's talk some numbers. Water flowing at 7 miles per hour exerts a force of equal to F5 tornado winds. 7 mile an hour water has the same power of an F5 tornado. That's why 6 inches of water can wipe a grown person off their
You
feet.
need to know what an F5 is.
Right, okay, so let's talk about this. At 25 miles an hour, water moving at 25 miles an hour would equal 790 mile per hour winds. That's why those pictures from Globe, Arizona, and you saw those cars completely pushed against one another into a different parking lot. Most of those came from a car lot that was miles upstream. The entire car lot flooded. All of the cars, their entire inventory from the entire car lot, lifted up, took a float downstream, little leisurely float into a brick wall when they finally got stopped. Increased viscosity from sediment. So this is important. Water that's from a flash flood isn't just water. Water can kill you. Water's deadly, right? But what you're talking about in a flash flood is this 790 mile an hour winds hitting you that also is including mud. It's like really thick, soupy chocolate milk.
There's boulders.
Boulders, trees, like anything, cars, buildings, if you're close to a city, anything that is in the path of that water can get picked up and pushed downstream. And if you're in the water, you can't see it because you're walking through chocolate milk. So you don't know that a massive boulder is about to rip your legs out from underneath you. I'm going to come over here first, okay?
You know what else is in that water? Your equipment, Dustin.
Thanks, Phil. Wow. Hey, I brought some lemon juice with me too. Let me give myself a paper cut really quick and you can pour some in there. Dan.
Yeah, if you take a look at that boulder that's up against the tree, at one time that was floating in that muck.
I can't guarantee, I doubt actually that boulder was moved by our water event.
No,
But at some point in time, a water event deposited that boulder on top of that tree.
Yep.
At some point.
So, if you've ever watched any flash flood stuff that was on YouTube, there's boulders bigger now. It looks like they're just floating down the stream.
Well, they weren't floating, they were tumbling.
Yeah, they're tumbling, but it looks like they're floating.
They're the size of
So,
Volkswagens.
you know, so you don't want to be in the water at the time. You don't know what size of rocks, everything from the small stuff
Well,
down
and
there to
if
that.
you can move a rock like that, you are not going to stand up.
Yeah, you're gonna wake up in Lake Powell, and I'm using wake up generously. Yeah.
You know, we talk often about, the flash flood event and when the water's moving. But some of those initial debris flows that come at the head of the flash flood can be even more dangerous because you have mud and trees and rocks right at that very front, and you can't see a drop of water before all that debris moves past you.
Such a great point.
All you can do is listen for it.
Yeah. So did everybody hear that okay? No? Okay. I'll repeat it really quick. So what he was saying is we're talking a lot about the power of water. We're talking a lot about the flash floods and the water itself. What his point was is the debris filled in front of it. The water, as it's picking up trees, as it's moving boulders, as it's moving bramble, like all that stuff is basically, you haven't seen the water yet, it's being pushed by the water. It's being pushed downstream. It's all the loose stuff, the light stuff. And that stuff is being pushed, and that is very dangerous. It's got a lot of weight, a lot of force behind it, and it's not even the water yet. And that's one of the most dangerous spots.
That's actually what we heard that morning was the debris field. And what
Yeah.
woke us up and what made us go look off the ravine was the noise that we could hear.
Yeah, you'll hear it. I think it'll come through these speakers pretty good. You'll hear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just had a quick point. It's like the knuckles of the fist. You know, when it started to come through, he's right. That's the most dangerous part of it. And another thing to really pay attention to, there's two things. The noise is one thing. The other thing is the cool air, especially in slot canyons. You get a blast of cool air.
That push.
And I've heard of people that are like, oh, nice cool air, and then all of a sudden, pow! Bye-bye, so,
Right.
yeah.
Yep.
Thank
Wow, lots of hands coming up. Okay, we'll start here.
Just one point I wanted to make. My prospecting partner and I were down in Arizona all over the place the first 10 days, and everything was just completely dry. And all the old timers we talked to there said it hadn't had water in years. And now you're telling us about all these floods, so it just reminds you to not be complacent. We were down in gulches and things, and if I hadn't have heard this from you, I would still be complacent about it because it was so dry when we were down there.
That's a great word. Don't be complacent. That's a great statement to make. Yeah, you don't think about it, especially in the desert, because it happens very rarely, especially big water events. You know what? There's pictures I didn't include in here, but a lot of you guys know Carl and I do a lot of mining down in Arizona, and there's one road that we cross all the time, and I was pulling my fifth wheel, and it's a paved road, beautiful road, and it's paved, and I got up to it, and they had a fence across it because this does happen once in a while, and they're prepared for it. And wider than this room, twice as wide as this room, was a river that was probably this deep. And I was watching trees, massive trees, just flying right down it. And I couldn't get through it. I had to wait. Funny enough, by the next morning, it had already dried up because the water dries up as fast as it gets there, it's gone. But the next morning, I was able to drive through it, but the night before. But then again, there went all my dry washing because everything was wet. Carl, did you have your hand up? Okay.
I'm just going to say, you can be in a riverbed that's never flooded, but if you've had wildfires in the area, because of the burn scars, you could get it on just a simple rainstorm.
There's a section of Utah that they just closed down this weekend because of that. Where is it?
Pine Valley, Forsyth Fire.
Pine Valley, Forsyth Fire. Had a huge burn scar. Flash flood, instant flash flood, and that whole area is closed down right now because they're repairing it. Yeah, whoever said that. Phil.
I was going to say, 2 years ago, I don't know if you guys remember the story, in Arizona, a 30-minute event, grandparents, their 2 kids, 5 grandkids, 9 people in total, got hit in a flash flood. It happened over 30 minutes was all. They found only one of the bodies. They all were killed. They found the one body like 7 miles away from the event, and they, because of the debris field, never found 8 bodies.
Yeah, it's tragic.
Generations wiped out in 30 minutes.
In 30 minutes. It's that quick. There's one more hand that I saw, and then I'm going to move on with the slide.
Again, just coming back, having experienced some of these events, knowing where they were and what they are, yes, you talk about the wind. You feel the wind, and you can hear them come. And having gone into the slot canyon afterwards, I remember seeing what happened with a deer that had gotten caught down there, and it was about the size of a basketball. Everything was all packed down into
It's
one
gruesome.
spot. So you can see that, yeah, this is not something you play with.
Yeah, you're not going to, I was joking when I said you'll wake up in Lake Powell. You won't. You won't. Yeah.
That's right, you won't wake up.
You might end up in Lake Powell, but you won't wake up. Good point. Okay. All right. I'm going to move on to the next slide. I got like one more, and then I'm going to pass over to Carl. Okay. Safety and preparedness. Number 1, turn around, don't drown. There's one thing that I forgot to mention. I thought I was in one of these slides. I must have removed it. Flash floods are responsible for, I think it's the second most, it's either the first or second most responsible for natural disaster caused deaths in the globe. Flash floods. It's first or second most cause of natural disaster related deaths. And I have to be careful the way I'm saying that, but the number 1 cause of natural disaster related deaths in the globe. Okay, so safety and preparedness. Number 1, I stole this from Arizona's DOT page, but turn around, don't drown, right? If there's a flash flood going, I was young and stupid when I watched that fire truck lift and move. Had I really been as aware as I needed to be when I hit that wall of water, I should never have made the joke about the Jeep and tried to drive through it. Luckily, I saw what happened to the fire truck, and I made a good decision to turn around. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be here right now. Okay, next thing in safety and preparedness, no local train and escape routes. So these are claims 14 and 15. Have a topo map. When you get there, look around. Make sure that you know, okay, like on the second or third day when we were back in the stream and we were mining, we were literally back in those same slot canyons that were flooded. And we said, okay, if you hear the train coming, if you hear the freight train coming, walk up, we're either running up this way or we're running up that way. We knew what our escape paths were, right?
Escape route.
What?
Have an escape route.
Have an escape route. Okay, monitor weather alerts and flash flood warnings. So nobody else, there were 4 guys on this trip, right? 4 of us on the trip. I was the only one that had the satellite service enabled on my iPhone. It's only in certain iOS versions. It's only on certain iOS phones. But I had it downloaded. I've been using it very regularly for the last year and a half, 2 years since it came out of beta. If you have an iPhone, I don't know, and I don't want to get into it here. I know we've had discussions. Look into safety measures, look into things. If you don't have something like that, look up a Garmin Spot. Look up other things that you can use to communicate. But I will say that I was the only one getting any safety warnings on my phone because of my satellite connection. I'm going to keep going through this to give him time. So, I was getting flash flood warnings. I was getting the tornado warnings. That's when we were like, holy crap, what do you mean a tornado? We're in Utah. And luckily it was like 100 something miles away, but still, like the winds from that tornado, the rest of the weather patterns along with that tornado were still impacting us where we were at. And it made us very hyper aware of everything going on around us when it talked about this weather. Okay, always tell a responsible person of your travel plans. Leave a plan of action with someone so they know when you're leaving, when you plan to return, where you're going to be. So if you don't return on Sunday night, they know to send out the Wampa Wampa mothership to start looking for you.
Yeah, make sure you call them when you get home too.
Yes, make them, yeah, good point, great point. Let them know that, hey, I made it, I'm okay. Good call. And I hit 2 of them, but that's okay. Avoid slot canyons and washes during storms. This is actually a picture from our trip when we were looking for gear recovery. This is what some of the slot canyons down on Crescent Creek look like. This is not on our claim. This was miles down, but this is what the slot canyons look like. And if it were actively raining and I was actively concerned about a flood at that moment, that would not be a good place to be. There's no escape routes. Like, yeah, I might be able to rock climb up a couple inches, but not enough to get out of harm's way. I'm too fat for that. Okay, and then the other one, carry emergency gear, maps, radios, first aid, water. Where we were camped at, where you have to get to drive to get to the claims, for claims 14 and 15 on Crescent Creek, there are 4 or 5 water crossings, and at one point you actually have to drive up the stream about 1/8 of a mile. So there was no way, if that flood would have continued or if it would have brought too much debris, there was no way to get back to the main highway, right? So make sure you got your emergency supplies with you. It's also why you want to have some kind of a communication device with you. We're in an era of technology. 20 years ago, you would have had to buy an actual satellite phone to remain in constant contact. We don't live in that society anymore, right? We don't live in those times. We all have ways that we can get emergency contact devices. So think about that. One last thing, and then I'm going to turn it over to Carl. Go ahead.
Well, the thing to remember about the weather alerts, you have to search them out and sign up for them. They don't just get pushed to your phone naturally. So you need to look for
That's
them.
it. Mine does. So
like regionally.
Okay, he's saying that some weather alerts you have to like sign up for that service to get the pushes to your phone. I'm not sure about that. I can't speak to that from a technology standpoint. I open up my iPhone and it just sends them to me. So, okay. Crescent Creek, September 11th through the 14th, not the 24th. That's my typo. 2025. Mr. Carl Weidman. I'll push buttons. I'm going to give you this microphone. So
does it work?
So this one goes to his camera.
Yeah.
We're giving away all your secrets on your YouTube here.
Okay. Amazing trip. That was a little Egypt there. That's a weird picture down there. We spent an entire day the next day recovering equipment.
Day one.
This is day one. This is all day one in the stream. Everything we had set up. We were running. We were finding gold. We were getting all set up. I was set up in a specific spot. I hadn't got in the stream yet. Peyton lost a brand new Honda 2200 generator. Everything in that picture is gone or destroyed for what we found after the fact. As you can see, we were set up in the stream in the dry washing. We had buckets. We were filling buckets. We're getting ready to run screens, dry washers. Go ahead. See what the next thing is. This is hitting camp that morning. We camped up on the mesa, up on the top.
Let me hit play. Oh, hold on. This stupid mouse is not being. This is 6 in the morning.
6 in the morning.
Talk loud in the mic.
6 in the morning. This is Dan taking video out of his Pathfinder, Forerunner, whatever it was. I think I may have already gotten out and gotten in the back of my truck and was sitting on a bucket.
Yeah, same with me.
Same.
I did not want the lightning striking my tent.
Tent poles, yeah. So. But funny enough, the ground, when you were walking on it, was 2 inches of solid mud. You could barely stand up. But underneath that, dry, completely dry in that situation.
Well, this is what a dry creek looks like after a major storm, after a major water event. And we had made the decision to leave some of our equipment in the wash last night because the storm was not planned, as they rarely are in the desert. And there's an assumption that most of our gear is gone.
And that is Dustin narrating. But that is what it sounded like, just rushing, pounding water. We woke up after the rain and we got up and we're all standing there. It's not raining and it's just, and that's all you could hear. And we walked down to this edge above where we were and that's what we came up to. Go ahead, Dustin.
Was that before the flash flood? Just during the rain, right after the rain?
That rain that initially, when we showed the camp, was before the flash flood started.
So the rain started about 6 in the morning. This is about 7:30 in the morning.
And then it stopped, and we're getting out of the tents, we're climbing out of our vehicles and stuff, and we're standing around, and then you could hear, and that.
Was this water from the flash flood?
This is the flash flood that morning, right after the rain stopped.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Yep.
So if you remember the pictures before of the dry wash, that there was zero water on these plains.
Right, but while it was raining, like, I remember you guys telling me that there was water coming down and then it had started drying up after the rain and then you got the flash flood.
Second day.
Oh, okay.
It happened twice.
Carl, this is Carl's view.
Okay.
You're narrating this one.
Am I? Oh, this is a little better view of what it was actually doing. We're talking millions of gallons. Yeah, we knew it was gone.
The possibility is downstream.
Look at, if you notice the clouds in the sky above it, very gray, very dark. Okay, next day. There's Peyton's side off his generator.
It's actually same day, but...
Oh, same day afterwards. We start hiking the stream. Back cover off his generator, the side of his generator. Go ahead, click.
That's all that was left
of his generator, brand new generator. Yeah. There's the frame of a Keen 151. You can kind of see it. It was fully set up before this happened. That's, yeah. Yeah, there's some of my straps and stuff that we found tied to bushes and trees. They were all in the wash by some stuff we had in there.
Mentioned like distances.
Oh, so every time we see something, it's about a quarter mile away. We spent about 6 hours and about 10 miles of hiking recovering equipment. We actually did recover some equipment. The pry bar we found, some more straps. Dustin's pick was there. Dan was happy to get his hose back from his Keen 151 dry washer that had never been used. It did get used, sorry. That's his shifting or sifting screen that he found. This had to be almost the furthest down. That had to be 5 miles downstream. And it was a screen and a metal frame. Okay, brand new wheelbarrow, the screen. There's the rest of the top out of a Keen. If you've ever seen a 151, you know it's not supposed to look like that anyhow.
Straight line.
The only reason we found the wheelbarrow is because a tree went straight through the bracket and tore the wheel off and hung it up on a tree.
Well,
there's
the screen, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a screen over there. We did find the bottom bucket to the one dry washer, or a shop vac. Go ahead, Des.
That's actually it.
That bit?
I put one in there of...
So huge things are escape routes. I know Dustin talked about that. Like I say, we spent an entire day searching after it was all over. It was rough. Go ahead.
So, did you learn anything about how gold moves?
Downstream.
So is there any gold left on?
We found gold up there and in good spots. And yes, there is still gold there because of the areas that we were finding it in weren't necessarily affected by the flash flood. It was in the walls of the stream banks, of the river banks and stuff on the cliffage. So we were getting it out of there.
We found gold up to 2 feet deep in the stream bed.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it got pulled down in there in lots of spots.
And keep in mind, the source is way upstream, right? So there's a difference between, in placer mining, there's a difference between gold that has been there for 100,000 years, 1,000,000 years, and it's buried and you got to unbury it, versus flood gold. And flood gold is going to replenish itself every water event. And the size of the water event is going to dictate the size of the gold it's going to leave behind.
I would say there is new gold there.
Yeah, there's new gold.
You can watch that video of the water flowing and look and see where your settle out spots are.
Oh yeah, especially if you practice and you study how stream flow is. Phil's done some great demonstrations on it. And the next day when we were walking the dry stream beds, you could see these great gravel bars, these drop zones, these eddies. Every place something came in, you could see where it was dropping the gold. We knew where to dig. We were just done on that trip. Equipment was gone. And all we had was dry washing equipment.
And it was a little wet for dry washing.
Okay, I was wondering what that was. I got to quit backing up into that.
So I actually have, if we have a couple more minutes, I'm not sure if Phil's in here. I have a couple videos, this is mine, where I was actually intentionally showing, it's really hard to do this from like this direction.
You have another 30 minutes or so.
Okay, so real quick, there's my dry washer.
Yeah.
There's all my buckets I had and already had some filled with dirt from the stream. My blower got submerged. It weighs about 12 pounds more than it did before. These buckets, I don't know if you can tell, they're about 6 inches deep. That one's half full sideways. This was on an upper wash above the wash we were working in. I was bringing buckets up to my dry washer to run them. And I didn't lose my dry washer.
Yeah.
I was lucky. It was still there because I was about 8 feet higher than the stream, but yet water still ran across it real hard. Oh, there's the wheelbarrow stuck in the tree.
Man, I cannot believe I didn't include that photo. I swear I downloaded it. Okay, let me get to...
So Carl, it was hard to tell, but it was at least 6 to 8 feet deep, right?
In different areas, it was crazy because I was about 8 feet higher. There's the bucket that was hooked onto some cords wrapped around the tree next to another piece. But in areas, probably 8 feet deep. In other areas, probably a super fast 3, just depending on where the turns were.
So in those videos, you could see the wheelbarrow that was actually hung up way out in the distance, and the water started here. The wheelbarrow slowly uncovered itself.
Yep. I mean, you got to figure here. I mean, I don't know what the distance from here to here is. Probably 15 feet. This was all underwater.
And you could see that water line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you're looking, I mean, the water was up here.
It left a mark.
You know, it all the way across down that. It came across this. I mean, it was. I'd never seen anything like it. All we could do was stand and watch.
So Carl, look at that picture. Look behind you got a nice gravel bar. You've got a new deposit zone.
You looking up here and.
Wheelbarrow is, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, are you talking about the gravel, the dropout? Well, you're looking. Okay, I get it. You gold digger. I know where you're going. I see it.
So this is what happens in the desert when it rains. This is a dry wash. Completely dry creek bed.
There's the wheelbarrow.
That's the wheelbarrow.
It was a big one. Really big, really quick. And I would also say we had discussed camping closer to the wash. So it'd be closer to the mining area. And I'm certainly glad that I was like, we shouldn't do that. Let's camp on hydrant. So we're camped.
See,
Way,
look at the sky.
over here, actually.
And that's, yeah, I'm up at camp right there. You can see how far down we are. But look at the sky. It's not raining on us anymore at all. That's all pushing down from miles and miles upstream.
I'm trying to find one in particular.
We found the pick handle. The pick head had come off, but we found the pick handle 5 miles downstream, laying on top.
It's interesting to see stuff like that. Plenty right there.
Feel like singing again.
Peeking back up again. This is what came in on us. 80s all day is what the weather report says. 0% chance of rain.
Oh yeah, 85 degrees for a high, 50 low, 0 rain.
This part's not plenty right there. Super interesting.
Phil, there's another drop zone. Did you see it?
There's an inside bend.
Inside bend.
Down the inside bend. She's here in the inside bend. Really cool river trim right here. Try to see if we can just go a little bit. Got some good rapids going on there. A little bit of slower speed on the inside curve.
One other thing real quick, he talked about the stream crossings going in and everything. They were no longer wash crossings. They were now 2 and 3 foot drop-offs into a gravel bar and then 2 or 3 feet up the other side to get your truck up and out the other side.
Those pictures you just had of the water, they were actually the runoff after the flash flood, weren't they?
That's a result of that rainstorm that happened to us.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't as high as they were. Most of the water has already gone downstream.
Yeah, yeah. So that flood, it was still coming down for about an hour because those clouds. It was raining above us. Up in the Henry Mountains, and that was the runoff leaving the Henrys and going down Crescent Creek. Anyway, Needless to say, I didn't need that. I think everybody can hear me okay. I'm loud. Any last minute questions before I turn back over to Phil? Yeah,
How far outside of Hanksville are the claims?
19 miles.
Yep.
19 miles to 20 miles to the turnoff, and then you got to go up another couple miles from the turnoff.
Don't follow his directions
Don't
either.
follow his directions.
They suck.
I'm gonna print up good directions for the new plan.
What do you guys do?
We went the easy way.
Turned around and came back from your directions.
Any other questions?
Don't take the first exit.
Out on non-iPhone for like Android. If anybody has information, thank you. If anybody has any information on how to do, if there's satellite connectivity, I know certain companies, I think T-Mobile does. Okay, do you do?
Yeah, talk to your carrier.
Talk to your carrier is what was being said. But yeah, certain versions of iPhone, iOS, and certain versions of models, I know can do it. I don't know about non-iPhones. Yep. I'm sorry, what's that? Oh, T-Mobile? Okay.
So Dustin, I'm from the desert as well, right?
Yeah, Vegas.
Here's the reality, is if you're getting flash flood warnings not in your area, watch out, because it's gonna happen in your area. So if it's in adjacent areas, you're already getting flash floods and thinking, oh, it's not gonna happen here. You've got to plan that, you've already got to plan for it, because in the desert, that's how it works, right? You're getting flash floods 20 miles away, 10 minutes later, it's happening.
It's happening to you. It's coming for you.
Yeah, so if you hear flash floods, you should already have your radar on and getting to high ground.
Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to Phil. Stay dry, stay high, don't die. I don't know. Whatever.
Stay dry, stay